Alright, so I'm at the airport and I have some extra time, a lot. So I'm going to tell you the story of how my phone stopped working and my whole trip went into absolute chaos. Story time. And I could laugh now, but I certainly wasn't laughing before, so let's take you through it. So upon entering in Reykjavik, Iceland, the Blue Lagoon, which everyone knows the Blue Lagoon, it's 15 minutes away from the airport. And correction, when you fly to Iceland, you don't land in Reykjavik, you land in Keflavik. Keflavik is 45 minutes to an hour away from Reykjavik, right? So the Blue Lagoon is 15 minutes from the airport. So instead of going to Reykjavik, then having to do all sorts of up and down to get back to the Blue Lagoon, it's best just to either, once you come out the airport in Keflavik or you're heading to the airport, you just stop at the Blue Lagoon because it's more convenient that way, right? And this is all for a reason. I'm going to explain it to you. So I'm out the airport, right? I am at Blue Lagoon. I've landed like 6 a.m. in the morning. It is freezing cold. Iceland is freaking rainy. It's a rainy country. And it was early morning. It was pitch black because Iceland is now edging towards polar night, so it's longer darkness and short amount of light in days, right? So it was pitch black, it's rainy, it's cold, the wind is howling because they have very strong winds there. So I'm like, you know what, I still want to go to the Blue Lagoon before I do anything else. So it is now 8 a.m. It's the same condition in terms of darkness, everything, right? So I'm at the Blue Lagoon now. I've checked in. I'm in the water. It is stunning, by the way. Blue Lagoon, it is stunning. Even because it got lighter at around 10 a.m. when I was there, but even when I arrived and went into the water closer to 9, it's still pretty much dark and you could see how beautiful it is. Like, alright, so I'm in the water. I'm enjoying myself. I met a friend from the US and we were just hanging out, having a ball. I was taking her pics and videos, she was taking mine. We were just, vibing. It's good. So off to a great start. I love it. So the rain, it's starting to fall back, but now in the water with my phone. I have it on a tripod in my hand, one of those handheld tripods, but I'm like, okay, I don't want too much rain to get into it, so let me get out of the water. And for reference, I had a Samsung S23 Ultra and it is water resistant. That's how it was advertised, that I think it could stay up to like 30 minutes submerged in water in like certain depth of water. It could stay that way. But again, I had been out in the elements for a while and I had a lot of mist blowing from the Blue Lagoon on the phone, so it was kind of wet, and then the rain was coming out, so I was like, alright, I didn't want to stay in the water too much longer with the phone. As I was getting out, like 5 feet from the steps leading out, I literally said to myself, I don't want to slip and fall, or I don't want my phone to get more wet. And as I said that, I slipped, and under the water I went with my phone. Now I didn't stay submerged, it was, like you're walking and you have a misstep and you come up back. So it was like 3 seconds. 3 seconds, I shit you not. And when I came out the water, the phone was on, but I was frightened. I was the phone, right? And then it was still on, and then it went blank. So I was like, alright, okay, I'm gonna have to put it in my locker. I'm gonna, as soon as I get to Reykjavik, I'm gonna put it in rice, because with prior phones you could pull it apart if the battery was removable, etc. You just pull it apart, put it in the rice, leave it for like a day or two, and it would have been fine. I have done that before to other phones, so I'm thinking, alright, it's the same procedure. So I wasn't really worried at that point. So anyway, I'm now in Reykjavik. I've left the Blue Lagoon. I'm in Reykjavik. My phone wasn't turning on. Again, I knew I had to sort it out as soon as possible. But I had a tour, food tour with Wake Up Reykjavik, that company. By the way, side note, mwah, amazing tour, amazing. So anyway, I had to rush to get to my tour, so I couldn't really stop to try to find a supermarket or somewhere to buy rice, because homegirl not traveling with rice. So I had to get to my tour, and I didn't know where, because I just landed in Reykjavik, just land. The only thing I could do was bathe and change, and I had to try to make it out the door to meet my tour, because you had to meet at a certain point, and it's a food tour with 5 different stops. So I'm not just like going to one restaurant, we're going all over the city. We're trying to get different tastes of Iceland. So I had to like leave. The guys at the front of the hostel where I was staying, that's Kex hostel. The first guy, the one who I initially met, he's Greek. Don't remember his name, but I remember him telling me that he's Greek. He was such a darling, such a sweetheart. He went above and beyond to try to help me when he didn't have to. It wasn't his job. All of them there really, but for him, because I think he was on shift for the time that I was in Kex hostel, so I was continuously going back to him begging some favor. He called the company, he called Reykjavik, sorry, just to let them know, hey, I have one of your tour people here, her phone is not working, the tour has begun, where can she meet you? I know that you guys have left from the meeting point, you have gone to one of the restaurants. Just let her know where she can meet you, and she'll meet you there, right? So they did. They forwarded them the information. They gave me the name of the tour guide, whose name was Dave. Hi Dave, you are incredible. Anyway, and so I had to now go and meet them at this restaurant. Remember, it's my first like hour in Reykjavik, right? I've never walked or toured the city before. I don't know where is where. My phone is not working. I can't use GPS. So I was basically on my own in finding this restaurant, right? And this was not a restaurant that everyone seemed to know about. The Greek guy, let's call him Greek guy, at the hotel check-in, at the hostel check-in, right, gave me something to find the hotel, the restaurant, and I'll show you what. In the hopes that I will find the restaurant, a physical map of Reykjavik. Listen, I'm 33 years old, so I was born in 1991, so I was before the internet era, right? And the saturation of GPS and all of that. So I grew up using like phone books where you would record people's name and number, and I grew up using payphones. But by the time I reached at an age where I was doing stuff for myself, cell phones and Google and GPS, they were a thing. They were in. So I'm not Indiana Jones. What am I to do with this? I am not Indiana Jones. Like, bless his heart, bless great guy, but I don't even, like, I'm keeping this as a souvenir. Like, there's a lot of loathing and simultaneously a lot of like funness for this map that I don't know how to use. So I put that aside. So I went out in the scene and I'm like, okay, let me try the old-fashioned way, not maps. So I started asking persons that I see on the street if they know the restaurant, because he had written down the name. So I started asking persons if they know the restaurant. A lot of the persons in Reykjavik are tourists, surprisingly. It's like a tourist city. So I would ask that person, they didn't really know, they would look up on GPS, give me a little direction. I'll walk that way. Couldn't remember, okay, where to turn now. Ask a next local, go down they will look up GPS, I go down the route, time to turn again. Couldn't really remember where they said I should turn, and I kept going and going and going till eventually I got to the restaurant, and I met up with the Wake Up Reykjavik food tour group, and we continue on with our day. And yeah, so that's the first part from when the phone stopped working, and that part was easy because the first day I had it locked, and you know I had the Blue Lagoon. Then from the Blue Lagoon, I would get an actual transfer going right to my Kex hostel. Then from Kex hostel, I knew I had a wake up Reykjavik food tour, and on that night, or in the night on that same day, I had another night tour. So I know the itinerary for day one back to back. I could memorize that, right? The rest of the activities, literally, that was what it was like in my head. After the food tour, I went back to my hostel, went back to Greek guy, thanked him. Then I let him know, okay, you've helped me with part one, now I need part two. I have another light store tonight. I think I know the company, not quite. So I don't quite recall the name. I don't know where's the meeting point. I don't know what time is the tour, because for the Northern Light store, then they'll take you out of town. You're not in Reykjavik, because to chase the Northern Lights, you have to go somewhere where there is minimal to no light pollution. So that couldn't be in Reykjavik, which was the main city. So I really had to meet them, because if you don't show up, they're leaving. They're not gonna wait. They gave you a time to be there, and you have to be there. So yeah, didn't know the meeting point, didn't know the time, didn't know the company. He was going through different tour providers to see if anyone's name rang a bell, and that was the method we used. It was process of elimination. So we would look up the tour providers doing tour on that day, right? And he would call the names out for me. Like, no, that name doesn't sound familiar. That name doesn't sound familiar, until ding, ding, ding. Oh, that name sounds familiar. And then he would call that company for me. I would explain the situation. Lost my phone. Do not have the tour confirmation number, but I can tell him my email that you have on file. I can probably give you the last 4 digits of the card that I used to book the tour if you needed. Give them my name, all of that. And from that, they were able to give me details. Okay, this is where you need to meet us. This is the time you need to meet us. This is the name of the tour guide or whatever. So that's essentially how I did it, right? For the first day, which wasn't that bad. No, I was in Reykjavik because my total vacation was like almost 2 weeks. I'm not gonna remember 2 weeks of itinerary, and every single day is mapped out. I had the Golden Circuit tour, and I had the South Coast and Ice Cave tour, 2 separate tours on 2 different days. Again, didn't know which tour came on which day, didn't know where the meetup was, didn't know the time, didn't know any of that. We already established a system at that point, so we would go and get your guide to look up, okay, we'll just type in Golden Circle tours, right? And we will look up all the different tours that's happening. We made a note of each of the tour operators' name until I saw a name that I was like, that name looks familiar, or that logo looks familiar. And again, the same process. Call them, explain the situation for the 10th, 15th, 100th time, give them my credential, ask them where to meet, all of that. And that's how I went on my tours in Iceland. Alright, so continuing from that now, I'm at the hostel. Alright, I know. Now that you've sorted out your tours and you've confirmed the tours that you have for tomorrow and the order that they will come in, let's now get the rice to put your phone in, because put your phone in rice is the normal way, right? So I went to Bonus. It's the cheapest supermarket you'll find in Reykjavik, and by the cheapest I mean the least expensive, because it is expensive. So I bought some rice, right? I have the rice in my suitcase, and I was gonna keep the rice as a souvenir, but out of spite, I'm gonna go home. When I'm in Jamaica, I'm gonna cook that rice, I'm gonna eat it, and I'm just gonna tear it apart because I need to get back at the rice. Anyway, I bought the rice, put my phone in, and the Samsung S23 Ultra, you can't remove the battery, sadly. So I submerged the phone in rice, tie it up neatly. I was like, okay, I'll just give this 2 days. It will come around. Something will happen. 2 days later, no such success. So I was like, okay, what the fuck? What am I going to do? So again, went back to Greek guy, who told me that someone told him that when your phone drops in liquid that is not water, because there are pollutants or whatever substances in that water that may corrode the main board in the phone, or the battery, or the SIM card, or whatnot. He said that friend told him I had to submerge my phone in alcohol, strong percentage of alcohol, maybe like 98% alcohol. Just submerge my phone in it for like a few minutes. Then the alcohol would erase or remove whatever corrosives were there, and then it naturally would evaporate because alcohol evaporates. So he's like, you could try that. But then we also Googled other ways to do it, and on Samsung's website, Samsung was saying if your phone has dropped in a liquid that is not water, then, and get this, here's the kicker, if your phone has dropped in a liquid that's not water, what Samsung's website is saying is that you should get a bowl, fill it with water, put your phone that has dropped in a liquid into a bowl of pure water, leave it for 5 minutes, and then put it to air dry in front of a fan. Not blow dry it or anything. Just put it in the water for 5 minutes, make sure it's submerged, and then put it in front of a fan, let it blow dry essentially, and then take it to a Samsung dealer for them to check on it. Now, I'm in Reykjavik, there's no Samsung dealers, I don't know about that. Also, I have a flight to Norway, I have a flight to Tromsø, so I don't have the time to be researching dealers, finding where to get there and all of that jazz. I really had to go meet my flight the following morning. So, but even so, even if I had the time, it still to me doesn't make sense to say if your phone drops in liquid, the way to save your phone is to put your phone in other liquid for it to like clean the pollutants or remove the corrosives and then air dry it like that. It didn't occur to me. I don't think I'm being dumb. I think that was reasonable to trust that the rice was the first step, not to dunk it in water. But anyway, I still followed through, I still did it, and this was like 2 days later. So I don't know if it's because I waited so long to do it, or I don't know what else was taking place, but my phone has yet to come on. So after that, we are now at the morning where I need to fly to Tromsø, right? I need to fly to Norway because I have my tours. I'm doing 2 countries in a week and a half, right? So it's now the morning to fly to Norway. I woke up early, had a breakfast. It was one of those things where, oh, I have time, and then I looked away, and then when you look back on the clock, oh shit. So I ended up missing the shuttle that would have taken me straight to the airport from my hostel. So I ended up having to call a taxi that will take me to the terminal where the shuttle is, and from there I had to wait until another shuttle arrived, and that would take me to the airport because my flight was at 10. I was supposed to reach the airport from 8, right? The shuttle bus came at 6:30, but by the time I went outside it was 6:40, so I was 10 minutes late and I missed the shuttle. If I had taken that shuttle at 6:30, I would have reached the airport by say 7:15, and my flight is at 10, so I would have had more than enough time. I would have had like 2 hours 45 minutes, right? That didn't happen. So when I called the cab to take me to the terminal to get the shuttle, they said, okay, our next bus is at 8. Remember, it takes 45 minutes to an hour to reach the airport. So if the next shuttle is at 8, it means I won't reach the airport until 9, and my flight is at 10. I only have an hour. That doesn't make any sense, right? It ended up, I didn't reach the airport at 9, I reached like 9:15, right? Okay, so now I barged into the airport. I'm like scared. First of all, I don't have my flight number, right? Because everything was saved on my phone. The phone is not working. I don't know my flight. I don't, flight number. I don't remember the airline I'm flying with. I thought I knew the time, but I wasn't quite sure. So I'm in the airport, I'm panicking. I see everyone joining the check-in line. I joined that line, and oh my god, that was my first mistake. Obviously, each airline has their own counter, but in my panic and haste, I just joined the line that everyone was joining on that side of the airport, not knowing that my flight was with another company on the other side of the check-in, right? So after being in that line for like 30 minutes, I'm already late, an hour late, 30 minutes later, so now I only have half hour when I reached the counter, the guy was like, I'm so sorry, the wrong place, you should go around there. Again, running around there like a maniac, dragging suitcases, carry-on, handbags, everything, running around like sweating like all over the place. The lady was like, no, the flight has gone. No, she's like, no, it's too late, the gate has closed. I was like, please, I was explaining to her the situation that my phone is gone. I don't remember my flight itinerary number. I don't remember the exact time the flight is. So I didn't even know that if I was supposed to catch the other flight or if it was the flight that was actually like leaving at the moment. Turns out it was the flight that was leaving at the moment. Alright, so she decided to take mercy on me. She did her magic. Thank you for that. She's like, alright, if you can get upstairs in like 15 minutes, you probably could make your flight because they're actually boarding right now. In my haste, first I showed her something. She asked for some documents, something. I went into my handbag, right? I rested on the ground, took whatever she was asking for, presented it to her, and then she had taken my checked luggage, just sent it on the belt. She's like, okay, just bring your carry-on, just go trying to make your flight. Again, in my haste and panic, I dashed away from the check-in. Alright, so I run upstairs, I'm out of breath, I go through security, do the scans and all of that. I am now at my gate, right? I see persons in the line, they're boarding by groups. Luckily I was in the last group, right? So I know I had a little wait. So, but it's moving steadily, right? I'm like, something feels wrong. There's something. I look down. I only had my check-on. I didn't have my handbag. My handbag was left downstairs at the check-in counter where I had to rifle through it to give the attendant whatever document she had asked for. So this is the situation. My check bag is on the plane. I have my carry-on with me and my handbag with all my banking cards, right? A lot of important things are in my handbag downstairs at the counter, and my flight is boarding. There are persons moving in the line as we speak. So, alright, I literally dropped my carry-on, literally drop it by the seat that I was sitting because I was thinking, alright, I need to be able to dash. I can't be lugging with the carry-on behind. Yes, I went that crazy. You're not supposed to leave your luggage in the airport. And I was like, there's no one touching this, the gate is boarding, everyone is going in. Let me just run downstairs. So I run downstairs, breathless, almost tears. She's like, no, I gave you a chance. And you have to choose. You have to choose catching your flight, because she's like, she gave the bag to security after noticing that there was no owner for the bag. So the security was some way around the way. She's like, that could take up to 15 minutes. Your flight is being boarded, so you have to choose. You have to choose your handbag, or you have to miss your flight that your check bag is on. You can't have both. So right now, as you can imagine, I'm in like this big conundrum. Okay, should I go get my bag with all my cards, money, and very important documents, or should I leave it here where they'll probably keep it, go on that plane, go to Norway, go to Tromsø only with my clothes and not have any way to, all my tours were pre-booked, but how was I gonna take a cab if I needed? How was I gonna take the bus? How was I gonna buy food to eat without any cards, right? So anyway, I started hyperventilating. I think I was having a panic attack because I don't know, I couldn't see or think straight or hear straight. Like, I felt like I couldn't breathe. So she was like, alright, fine, just hurry up, get to Lost and Found, and then how you make it upstairs is on you. You may miss your flight, but that's the only thing you can do. So I dashed to Lost and Found. I don't know if she called ahead, I don't know, or if it's luck, bless your heart, but they could see me running breathless. So as I came to Lost and Found, she was like, oh yeah, here. So I'm running up back. Let me say it, this is not a small airport, okay? That's the first thing. This is not a small airport. Reykjavik airport is not so small, right? So it's not like I'm running for like 5 minutes. I'm going upstairs, I'm running out. I have to, at the point where you can feel almost what we call stitches. You can feel cramps from running so much. I'm in pain, I'm out of breath. I'm almost at the gate. They could see me struggling to come along. They could see me desperately trying to make it. So as I was approaching the gate, she was like, "Are you Camille Minot?" I said, "Yes, yes I am." She's like, "All right, fine, get in." Because when I looked, there was no one in the line. Everyone was on that, you know, down the little hall that you go to step on the plane, and the last person was about to go on the plane. So essentially, they were just waiting for me. I was like, "Okay, yeah, fine. My bag's right there. Let me just grab it." She's like, "What? Get on the plane. You're gonna miss your flight." I was like, "No, my carry-on is right there by the seat. Literally, look, it's right there." And she's like, "Oh, this," and you could see one of the guys almost going, "This fucking idiot. Seriously, like how, like what is going on with you?" So anyway, she ran to get the bag for me while they were scanning my passport. She's like, "Okay, prove it, sirs. Open the lock for me." So then I had to dig through my handbag, which I just rescued, for the key. And the guy's like, "Get on the plane." I'm like, "No, she needs me to prove that it's mine." So I did. And I went on the plane. For like half of the plane ride, I think I blacked out. My foot was bouncing. I was sweating. I felt anxious. I felt nervous. I couldn't think straight. I was like I looked like a nervous mess. I probably looked like I was having a nervous breakdown, which I think I was. And then from there, I was able to head to Norway. Alright, so I'm now in Norway, right? I'm even further up in the Arctic Circle. I'm in Tromsø. Tromsø is higher in latitude, or however you would define it, than Reykjavik. So I'm now in the real Arctic Circle. I'm like, alright, I can't continue like this. I can't be just going to front decks every minute, asking them to make calls, consistently bothering them. I mean, Greek guy and the other guys, there was a British guy also at Kex Hostel, and even an Icelandic guy. 3 of them worked the shifts right there with interchange. They were all very, very good to me, very patient, but obviously they were being gracious. I can't demand that other person have that same approach. So in Norway, I know, okay, you're gonna have to get a phone shop. Whatever they charge to fix your phone, you're gonna have to pay that, or you're gonna have to buy a phone because you need to be connected. You can't keep going like this. It's not gonna work out. So in Norway, I didn't have a tour the same day of my flight. I had a tour the following afternoon, sorry, right? So that made me feel somewhat calm. I was like, all right, I can do this, right? So the following morning now in Norway, after I've checked into my hostel, and that's the Tromsø Activities Hostel. It's right in the city center. I've met some great gals there. It was a good time at that hostel. I would definitely recommend it. Anyway, so the following morning now, I'm like, okay, I know I have a tour today. I think it's somewhere between 12 in the afternoon to 3 in the afternoon. I think that's the time it's starting. I didn't know if it was 12. I didn't know if it was 1. I didn't know if it was 2 or 3. I just know it's somewhere in that time frame. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna go to the mall because everyone who I had asked was saying there is a big mall close to the airport, so I should go to the mall. There's a phone repair shop. They'll repair my phone, and then I'll be able to carry on from there. So I was a bit hopeful now, right? So first of all, I went on the bus again. Don't have a phone yet, so I didn't know. I couldn't use Google Maps to know when was my stop. So I asked a lady in the bus. I explained that, okay, I'm going to the big mall where the airport is. I don't know if because I have an accent, but apparently she only heard airport and not necessarily the mall that's close to the airport. So you can see where this story is going. All right, so in the bus does travel quite a distance. It stopped. Now I'm thinking at this stop a lot of persons are getting off, and when I look, I'm like, that looks just like a mall. Like literally, it looks just like a mall. But when I asked the lady, she's like, no, 4 more minutes till your stop. That is not your stop. But my gut was telling me, but that's a fucking big mall. And I know the airport is somewhere in this vicinity. But again, I don't know why. I foolishly listened to her. Didn't come off when I was supposed to come off and continue on. So when we reached the airport, she's like, this is your stop. And I'm like, no, God! I didn't want the airport. I wanted the big mall close to the airport. And then she was like, oh no, we passed your stop. It's quiet. You're gonna have to take another bus and go back. And I wait for another bus to come in the opposite direction. Hop on that bus. Don't quite know where to come off, but I know the mall is like 2 or 3 stops from the airport, right? So I think I've counted the stops. I get off the bus. I'm in this area now. By this point, it is now 11. Remember I told you that I think my tour is sometime between 12 to 3. So if my tour is at 12, I only add 1 hour to fix my phone, wait for a bus, go back to the city center, try to figure out the meeting point for my tour and go meet them. 1 hour to do all of that. You can see how impossible that is. I came off the bus. I don't know where I am. I'm not seeing anyone around because close to the airport you don't have a lot of things, so you're not going to see a lot of persons hanging about. So I don't know where I am. Saw this guy. He couldn't quite direct me, but he tried. So another lady who basically advised me to go in the opposite direction from what the guy told me, and it continued on and on and on. So here I am. I'm now panicking. I'm crying, literally crying in broad daylight in the open. I didn't really care. I had given up. I was like, what kind of fucking life is this? What kind of trip is this? This is and the rain is starting to come down again, just to like add icing on the cake. It's chilly. I'm like lost once again. So I'm crying till eventually I kept asking till I reached the mall. So I'm at the mall now. I was shown the shop where I could repair my phone. Went up to the lady. I was like, okay, I explained the situation, dropped in the Blue Lagoon. I need this fix. I have no other way to communicate. She's like, well, we're in Tromsø. We have to ship it to Oslo. Now, I don't know if you know the map of Norway, but Tromsø, in the Arctic Circle, Oslo, on the bottom of Norway. This is not somewhere that you can take a bus to. You have to fly to Oslo from Tromsø. There's no bus. That's how far apart it is. It's flights. It's not bus. Flights. So I was like, that's not gonna work. And she's like, well, yeah, and it could take up to 3 weeks. I'm like, lady, I don't have 3 weeks. I'm here for 2 nights. I need this phone fixed. She's like, well, honestly, if it dropped in Blue Lagoon, which is sulfur, the water is predominantly sulfur, you're just gonna have to buy a new phone. There's a phone shop. So I went in the phone shop now to buy a phone, which I didn't budget for. Alright, they were having some specials, so I ended up buying this phone that I'm recording this video on, this dumbass Samsung A15 phone. Granted, it has been useful, but it's not the same as my Samsung S23 Ultra. Doesn't compare, doesn't have the same features. Camera is shit, recording is shit, everything is shit, but it was the cheapest one they had in the Samsung line, and I just had to get a phone, right? So anyway, I bought the phone, and I should say that before, whenever I was trying to log in, because again at Kex Hostel in Reykjavik, they were so kind to me. The Greek guy actually gave me his personal phone to say, okay, try logging into your email, try logging into booking.com that I used to do my hostels, try logging into Get Your Guide, which I used to do all my tours. He said, just try to log into them to see if you could proceed from there, which sounded like a great idea, and I did. Except every time you log in on a new device, your email, it's now asking you to verify your identity by sending a code to your phone, right? Remember, before I couldn't do this because my phone couldn't work. So it doesn't matter how much you try, you're sending that code. I'm just simply not gonna get it because my phone wasn't working. So with the new phone, I thought, all right, let's just take your SIM card out from the old phone, put it in the new phone. You will be able to get your codes. It will be better. It will work out. Take out my SIM card, insert it, nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. So I don't know if at this point, because even at this point I'm still not able to get anything from it. So I don't know if my SIM card has gone to shit, it's not working, or if because I'm Jamaican, obviously, and I live in Jamaica, so I don't know if my cell phone provider Flow doesn't actually carry over service so far on the other side of the world. So it could be one or two. So either my SIM card is shot to shit, like the sulfur water completely destroyed it, or I'm just not able to get a signal because I'm so far from home. So I am still without any access to my emails. I'm still without any access to any of my socials. I'm still without access to any booking platform, whether booking.com, Get Your Guide, all of that. I mean, I could access them, but I would have to create new accounts, and obviously I wouldn't be able to access anything from my old account on new account because it's new passwords, it's new everything, right? So what I did instead was to just download the app. I would download Get Your Guide and then reached out to them just to explain, okay, I have a tour with you. This is not the account I used to do the tour. Gave them the email address of the account that I did use to do the tour, give them my credentials, and just basically ask the representative of Get Your Guide, could you just give me the list of all my tours, because it's your platform. Even though there are different providers on the platform, it's your platform, so you should be able to see every tour that I have. And they were able to, thankfully, so they could see all my tours in Tromso. They could tell me the confirmation code, the provider, and they could give me their number, and it picked up from then. And on that note, I would like to say thank you to all the persons who have helped me along the way. Persons who had no reason to. It wasn't their concern, it wasn't their business, but for persons who helped this woman along the way, who was frustrated sometimes, confused sometimes, on the brink of a meltdown sometimes, for all the persons who stopped and helped me Google stuff, call persons for me on their phone, took pictures for me on their phone, then WhatsApp it to me or sent it to me through Instagram messages. Thank you so very much. You really didn't have to, and I remember you all. To Julipa or Julissa, I think, from Puerto Rico, who was on the Wake Up Reykjavik food tour with me. Thank you so very much. To the young lady I met at the Blue Lagoon from the US. I think she was on her way to Dublin. Funny enough, we didn't exchange names. We were too busy having a good time. Thank you so very much. You were so fun to hang out with. So I'm going down the list because I want to remember everybody. So to Rita, the artist and photographer that was on the Golden Circle tour with me, we were just kindred spirits. I loved her energy. I felt immediately at ease with her. We hung out for a day. We took footage of each other. The young lady that was on the South Coast tour and Ice Skate tour with me from Canada. I didn't get your name, but you took photos and pictures of me and you sent them to me. I think like the same time. Thank you so very much. I haven't seen these pictures yet or footage from anyone at the time of my recording, but I know I'll see them when I get back home and sort out my phone SIM card situation. To Greek guy at the Kex Hostel, to Bo, who also works at Kex Hostel, to the other guy who works there. I didn't get your name. Thank you so very much for helping me. You guys were extremely patient. To a very anxious and nerve-wracked lady. To Anjali, you're my babe. We had a blast. We didn't see the Northern Lights, but we created our own. So to Anjali, who I met at Tromso Activities Hostel, to the other ladies that were in that hostel with me, I'm gonna call you Buzzcut because I didn't get your name. You said it. Oh my God, you said your name and I can't remember. The photographer. So Buzzcut photographer. Thank you so very much. You listened to my sub story and we laughed and we had a ball. Just to everyone, it shows you that even when you feel alone, you're not completely alone, and help is there if you only ask. Sometimes limited, sometimes in abundance. Sometimes persons offer themselves willingly to help you out. Sometimes they're reluctant, but then they'll try to assist. whichever way it happened, thank you so very much. The fact of the matter is you helped me when you didn't have, and you made my trip so much more memorable. I don't know if I could have ever done this on my own. Anjali, sorry, not Anjali. I know Anjali, love to see you're so resilient, but I think you guys underestimate just how far kindness can save someone and take someone, and you guys have given that to me in spade. Just thank you so very much, and until next time.